On a continuous basis, Parker Schnabel has established himself as one of the industry's most driven young miners, exploring new frontiers in gold mining. But this season has been particularly challenging. Plus, his Dominion Creek property, which was meant to be a gamicker, has turned out to be a huge letdown. The ground has produced far less gold than anticipated, which is causing a challenge in meeting the substantial operational expenditures associated with operating a large-scale mining operation. The expenses are mounting due to the failure to meet expectations in gold output. Among Parker's tough choices, including selling off some of his prized equipment to stay afloat, was an arrangement with Brian McCann, who needed affordable emergency mining gear. During their conversation, Parker made it clear that the machine he was selling was top-notch, highlighting its efficiency and reliability, even though he had originally asked $200,000 for it. In an effort to get a better deal, McCann countered with an offer that was closer to $150,000. Despite his reputation as a fierce negotiator, Parker, who was facing financial difficulties, was willing to negotiate and ultimately agreed to sell the equipment for $162,000, a significant discount from its original valuation. This sale served as a stark reminder of Parker's current predicament. McCann sensed Parker's desperation and wondered aloud why he had been given such a good deal. He speculated that Parker's gold production had been so low that he had no choice but to sell off assets from a mining operation that should be thriving. Parker admitted that the financial strain of this season had been overwhelming. While he remains optimistic about Dominion Creek's long-term potential, he acknowledged that future prospects don't help him cover costs in the present. The reality of gold mining is harsh without consistent production. Despite these challenges, even the most experienced miners might run into financial problems. Although selling off equipment was a painful decision, it may give Parker the temporary relief he needs to regroup and refocus his efforts. If he can learn from the setbacks at Dominion Creek and make adjustments, he will have built a career on perseverance and strategic decision-making. Based on his strategy, there's still a chance he can salvage the situation before the season ends. However, at the moment, Parker Schnabel is facing one of the most challenging situations of his career, which highlights how unpredictable gold mining can be. The question is, will he be able to recover from this setback? Remains to be seen, but prior events suggest that Parker will not surrender easily. Gold Rush viewers have long admired Parker Schnabel for his no-nonsense attitude toward gold mining. Unlike many of his fellow miners, Parker isn't afraid to put his money where his mouth is, and he frequently commits huge sums of money in the hopes of striking it rich. Parker's business dealings rarely involve lengthy negotiations. However, after the latest episode of Gold Rush Season 15, some fans think he may be changing his mind. Fans believe he is now eating his own words. Parker's struggles were already significant, but what really caught fans' attention was his apparent shift in negotiation tactics. Instead of his usual cutandry approach, he was seen engaging in haggling, which some fans saw as a sign of financial desperation. On social media, fans discussed this. What a paradox it is. Parker had before blasted staff members like Kevin Beats for trying to strike bargains, claiming that time was more important than little cash savings. However, in this episode, he seemed to be engaging in just that. Some viewers even made fun of Kevin, saying that he would find this quite entertaining, especially when one considers Parker's history. Negotiations. Some fans thought the situation wasn't as bad as it seemed. For example, Parker first denied that he would fail to meet his season goal, thinking that the show's editors were just trying to add drama. However, after seeing his ongoing struggles, they admitted that it seems like he is actually in a lot of trouble. And further supporter pointed out that Buzz Lego, Parker's longtime boss, was much more energetic than normal, implying that he, too, may be feeling the gravity of the situation. The beginning of a new era for Parker Schnabel. This season has been more challenging than expected due to his Dominion Creek claims disappointment and the increasing expenses. He has rethought his usual strategies and is now willing to negotiate prices, which he avoided in the past. This could be a sign that his financial concerns are more pressing than he has let on for years. Parker is different from other miners because he is confident in his operation and decisions. He has made risky purchases, expanded his claims, and motivated his crew to perform at their best. His identity on the show and his success are both shaped by his willingness to invest heavily without hesitation. This change in strategy, on the other hand, may indicate a new approach that is driven by need rather than personal desire. For some fans, the recent loss of a crucial piece of equipment, along with weak gold yields and increasing expenses, raises serious questions about Parker's financial situation. If he is indeed at a point where he needs to negotiate price cuts, it could mean that his operation is struggling more than initially thought. On the other hand, there are those who see this as just another example of Parker adjusting to new circumstances. In order to remain competitive and keep his operation running, Parker may have to abandon some of his previous hardline stances and start making more tactical financial decisions. The mining industry is unpredictable, so even the most successful miners have to adjust their strategies when conditions shift. Will Parker recover from this season's setbacks? Domino Creek was meant to be a huge stride forward for Parker's business, but so far it hasn't worked out that way. Will he be able to turn things around before the season ends? Considering the passing of time and the growing difficulty of achieving this season's objective, Parker may have to keep making difficult choices since it has become more of a hindrance than an aid. Parker Schnabel's ability to adapt under pressure has been demonstrated time and again, in his willingness to negotiate, which some fans view as a sign of desperation. If there's one thing Schnabel has proven, it's that he doesn't give up easily. Whether he can bounce back from this challenging season will be a true test of his resilience and leadership in the mining world. It takes years for large-scale mining projects to reach their full potential, but Parker has the experience and determination to overcome setbacks. Some fans think he's remorseful, but others say he's just dealing with the growing pains of managing a larger operation. Whether Dominion Creek becomes the gold mine Parker imagined or a costly mistake is still up in the air. But one thing is clear: Parker isn't going anywhere. As the season progresses, everyone will be watching to see if he can transform this risky gamble into his biggest success.